You wake up to sirens and your name on every screen. Your phone vibrates until the case buzzes against your palm. Most wanted scrawls in block letters. The apartment is a scene someone rehearsed. Curtains shredded, a chair on its side, a smear of blood that refuses to belong to you. A live feed cuts to a loop of a man who looks like you at the riverbank. A duffel slung, a shadow tossing something into water. The timestamp stabs the present. You shove your feet into shoes and everything clatters. The front door is locked from the outside. Down the hall, a door explodes inward and shouts bloom like fire. Footsteps thunder above. Metal of the fire escape bites your palms as you drop into a rain-slick alley. Drones hover, red lights blinking like predatory insects. Phones and windows track you, faces lit by feeds. Someone screams your name and the sound becomes a broadcast. You catch a taxi with bills pressed into a shaking hand and give an address you barely recognize. The driver keeps glancing at the overhead radio where anchors chew on your image. The city folds into a fist of lights and checkpoints. At the subway entrance, uniforms form a new architecture of authority. You slip under the tape like a ghost and cram into a train packed with the breathing weight of strangers. Heads turn as phones rise. A woman mouths your name. A child points. You pull your hoodie closer and try to become background. At the next stop, the doors open to a squad that moves like one rotary muscle. You leap from the platform into the maintenance tunnel and run. Concrete hums against your soles. Graffiti eyes watch your silhouette. A message pings. Go to Terminal 4, unknown number. A follow-up. Trust no one. Move. You surface into the airport's glass throat where departure boards blink like constellations. Gate 23 is a theater. A man in a navy blazer approaches, badge flicking gold at the edges. He says your name too fast and offers a private flight, a safe house. The ticket loves your fear and sells it as rescue. The stewardess smiles with teeth the color of papier-mâché. On board, seatback screens loop footage, you lifting a duffel, the river taking weight. The timestamp matches nightly news. Your throat closes around a half-formed protest. At the safe house, beige answers every surface. Men in suits move like props. They show you photographs, your gloved hand lifting a bag at the river, your silhouette framed in night vision. A recording plays, your voice, crystal clear, saying, "All systems go." The cadence is yours, and yet impossibly perfect. The coal-eyed woman at the head of the table slides dossier pages like cards across the table. Purchase histories, late-night rides, GPS pings. They sculpt a life into a crime with clinical patience. You feel smaller than rumor. You leave with a paper trail and a new, angrier kind of clarity. You find a warehouse whose publicly filed address does not match its shadow. ARC is embroidered on jackets like a secret everyone pretends not to know. Inside, a wall of screens blooms with faces, dozens, maybe hundreds, and your face sits as a single tile among many. A man at a console says, "You were loud enough." While the country screamed about you, the real job walked clean with a vault empty and accounts seeded into islands. Project names blink. Project Mask. Files stitched through agencies and contractors like a map of complicity. The idea lands. Framed. Used. Made into a distraction while something worse happened. Panic becomes a lever and you push back. You steal an ID, find a route through service corridors, and move like a rumor. Cameras slice the night into mirrors. Helicopters carve silver arcs above. A tracer grazes your shoulder and blossoms into heat. You fall into a protest and find hands that shove you forward. A mask handed into your palms. They believe your face is a symbol. You let them carry you because masks hide what cameras cannot see. A drone locks on you and marks you with a dot that feels like frost. Someone in a control room watches your story unfold like a movie and bets on the outcome. You tear a screen down, and the hum of machines becomes the chase. A van barrels into your path, and men with earpieces corral you toward a dock where shipping containers sit like sleeping predators. Rain lashes the metal. You slip into a container, and the world closes to the sound of boots. A man laughs and says, "They'll want you for public penance. Act penitent. Wear shame like costume." The plan is elegant and cruel. You don't accept costume. You pry free through compost and steel, cut through a hedge of officers, and find a scruffy man under an overpass who hands you a cheap USB stick. He says, "If anything happens, upload this everywhere." The stick is small. Transfer logs, emails, routing numbers, a list of shell accounts with names that belong to men who make laws. He watches you swallow the thing, because hands are watched and mouths are private. The metallic taste marks a pocket of hope. Everything accelerates. The city becomes a lattice of cameras. You are seen in a dozen angles, and the footage becomes commodity. A courthouse becomes a cathedral for spectacle, where marble amplifies indictment. Lawyers ply you with promises that feel like traps. The coal-eyed woman sits in the front row, tapping patience into the wood. A judge declares fate with precise monotone. The world demands closure, and closure prefers a scapegoat who can be made tidy. You are shipped to a facility that sits off maps. Windows are narrow and the sun is rationed. On a bedside table, a photo waits. The man from your kitchen, silver hair, a smile that eats gravitas, a note on the back. He never liked doing the dirty work himself. The truth tightens into a wire you can barely touch. One night, the lights flicker and go out with the polite buzz of old power. In the dark, the door opens, and a woman in a dark coat moves through like a verdict. She sets a glass on the table and says, "This will be fast." She looks at your face and offers what they call mercy. You think of the USB under your tongue, the ember that could burn through 1,000 lies. You think of the kid who will find rubbish and not know its cost. You see the coal-eyed woman at a podium in a future that smells of victory. You swallow the pill she brings, because rebellion without leverage is death's theater. The pill is a clean erasure. Your muscles unthread. The world goes soft. You let the ember under your tongue hum like a secret machine. The woman leans close and murmurs, "Efficient." The air tastes like iron. You sleep into a long dark that is not yet gone. In the gray, fragments assemble. The man at your kitchen table grinning into a camera. The ARK logo like a fingerprint across server logs. Names that do not belong together on the same spreadsheet. You think, last and loud, of the city and how truth sometimes hides in the smallest things. Weeks pass like pages. Men in suits drink bonuses and write memos that sanctify the theft. The country closes the dossier on you with a sigh of relief. Press conferences tidy the edges. The man who wore your face on the news walks his lawn and makes statements. And the coal-eyed woman climbs a rung or two. The contractors collect another check and scrub whatever they can scrub. Then whoever moves faster than a map finds a wet flash drive near the docks. A sanitation worker picks it up because curiosity is cheaper than caution. A kid with sticky fingers finds it in a puddle and laughs at the weight of a toy. He plugs it into a battered laptop, and the file opens. Shaky video, transfer logs, names, an audio whisper, "Diversion successful." The clip is grainy, but context is a hunger no algorithm can resist. Uploads spread like rumors on a long, wild night. Forums bite into the leak and chew. An investigative reporter with coffee-stained knuckles follows a line and finds other lines that pull taut. Men who thought themselves invisible check their phones and begin to sweat. Phones ring behind closed doors. Subpoenas are drafted. Accounts are frozen. A senator's smile falters in front of a microphone that used to be a friend. It does not undo everything. You will never re-enter a life that was yours. Your name remains a bruise in the archive. The public prefers tidy stories, but the ember under your tongue did what embers do. It found dry places and fed. The leak becomes a splintering force that forces hearings and ledgers to show their underbellies. The coal-eyed woman gets called to testify. The man with the silver smile learns the price of being filmed in private. In rooms where men wear power like armor, panic becomes a small, sharp thing. Audits open. Contractor ledgers leak. A campaign office scrambles. The ARK jackets are washed through bureaucracy, and a trace of stain returns to light. The country keeps eating headlines, tired and hungry. But now a different sort of story slices the feed. The narrative fractures. You will not walk back into the city and reclaim what was stolen. Your ending is not tidy, but somewhere in the static, your ember smolders and finds oxygen. Names that matter to the powerful begin to tremble. The stolen vault is traced through offshore accounts and freezes in the dark. Men who set plans like traps feel the trap click backwards. And in an apartment far away, a kid with sticky fingers turns the flash drive over, downloads the files, and becomes the spark no one thought to guard. The file blooms late at night into demands for inquiry. Cameras that once fed the public a single face now show committees and subpoenas, and men squinting into microphones. The coal-eyed woman stands under a timed spotlight and reads answers that have been written before she was born. Your body sleeps in a bed that no longer opens. Your name is a dossier in a cabinet labeled Most Wanted.
But the ember you swallowed became a leak, and that leak became a river. It runs under headlines and across servers, and through the whisper rooms of people who still keep receipts. The country flinches and briefly looks. The man in the suit loses a measure of sleep. The contractors scrub logs and find traces they cannot erase. The final image you own, clearer than the ones on a million screens, is small, hands empty for once, a tiny flash drive found in a puddle, and a city that, if only for a breath, had to face what it had been told. The end is not clean. It is a fracture that keeps bleeding light.